Yes, hello. I am James Rowlands, and today it's the WNR360. It's NXT Takeover in Your House 2021. But I am not alone. I have the pleasure to be joined by Monty. How you doing, fella?
I'm doing good. Back for another edition to talk about what I love, what we've grown to love to do, experience NXT. So it's cool that we get to do this again. Deja vu.
Well, without a doubt, like I said, after an epic NXT update, it is time for the main course, which is Takeover. And of course, we built up enough. I cannot wait to get onto it. But before that, we had the press conferences that they've been doing. They did one for Stand and Deliver. Now they've done one for In Your House. And the global press conference was held and hosted by Todd Pettengill and Wade Barrett. The panel featured Karrion Kross, Raquel Gonzalez, Ember Moon, Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Cameron Grimes, Johnny Gargano, Pete Dunne, and LA Knight. The group answered numerous writing questions for the media. Before we get on to what they asked, what did you think? Did you see any of the press conference?
I did not see it. This is the actually, I figured they would do one, but I did not know that they were going to do it again. I remember enjoying the Stand and Deliver one, but I thought since that was such a big, event, WrestleMania, week and all that, I thought that was the only reason why they did it. So I wasn't even prepared for this. So this is all new to me. What happened at the?
Well, I was going to say, luckily for me, obviously I didn't stay up and watch Takeover live, obviously due to work. But the following day, I had not only Takeover, but the kickoff and the 45-minute press conference as well. So I'm a glutton for punishment when it comes to stuff like that.
Before I started doing these things for content, I was a master at avoiding pre-show. Whether it was on purpose or whether it wasn't. So I usually like to get right into it, but I understand having to check out everything. Sometimes I get a chance to, but it's been a while and I missed it unfortunately for this one. But yeah, you really like that stuff, huh? All that extra build.
I can't help it, honestly. It's a sickness. They give me extra because it adds to the package, and it doesn't.
Yeah.
But but I pretend it does.
Well, all right. Let me know what you think. Let's just if we highlighted everything you thought added to the package, how long would it take?
Well, let's find out now because we had Cross said Kyle O'Reilly is my biggest threat to the NXT title because he's the hungriest and he has the most to prove, which I think was interesting for Cross to actually, when you've got four other guys, you don't usually pick out one.
Right. That's very interesting. Wow.
We had Pete Dunne was asked the following question: if you win the WWE NXT Championship, do you see yourself taking it to the UK for regular defences? He says UK is my brand and always will be. I built it so the door is never closed. But listen, I'm not going to be defined by a record-breaking title run with the NXT UK title. My career is going to be defined by what I do with the NXT title, and that starts tomorrow. We talked about Pete Dunne quite extensively on the update, and that's basically hit the nail on the head what we were talking about as well.
Yes, I really love hearing him say that. Like I think I mentioned that on the update that he needs something bigger than just continuing to always go back to that reign to NXT UK. It is time for him to expand and start taking over other brands and other shows. So I love the fact that that's going to be his character's focus going forward. Like he said, that door is always open to go back to. Pete Dunne deserves to have his name known globally. So hopefully we can, get started on that arc in his career.
Right. And also a couple of notes about it, about the press conference itself. It's funny that WWE trying to move away from the past. We saw that with trying to replace JR, half a dozen times, whatever it was. Mm-hmm. But Todd Petty is still a pro. And it's I know he's aged a little bit in the 30s, but he can still, the voice that he's got and the kind of way he sells it. Why don't you just keep the good ones? Why?
I understand that completely. And and Michael Cole gets a lot of flack, but it's so bad to where I miss hearing Michael Cole everywhere. On as far as the weekly main roster shows, like Michael Cole and even with Pat McAfee, Pat McAfee's been doing a good job, by the way. uh, I literally look forward to their commentary, not only because it's that two-man style that I grew up loving and enjoying too, which I think they need to go back to. But besides that, it's been good three-man commentary teams also. Like you said, why not keep the good ones? I do not understand why WWE has such a problem with their history, but at the same time, loves reminding us about their history. It's very weird. Like they want to move on, but they don't want to move on, but we want them to move on. It's
Yeah,
weird. It's very weird.
they've got their new girlfriend, and they say, but you'll never be like she was. It's like, why do you keep going on about it? Like either you're with me
Exactly.
now or you're not, But and another cool little thing, Gonzalez and Cross were sitting next to each other. Of course, they did the stand and deliver press conference as well. And Gonzalez answered one of the questions, and she actually Cross fist bumped her, which I thought was just quite cool. That they're probably quite similar, two badass kind of heels at this moment in time, and answered well. I was like, yeah, a bit of respect there,
Yeah, I like that. It's a progression, especially if they're going at the rate that their reign's on, they will be at all of the future press conferences. At least for the rest of this year at this pace.
Well, another thing that made me laugh was Adam Cole's facials. Really funny. Every time someone, was answering a question he disagreed with, it says the NXT roster beats Raw and SmackDown. I mean, what are your thoughts on that? Do you think the NXT roster is better than Raw and SmackDown's roster?
I think from it's the most complete. We can find holes on the main roster in certain areas, like they're the women's division, and trust me, I think we all can agree NXT's been doing a way better job with the women's division by comparison on both shows. The tag team divisions are okay, but also inconsistent on the main roster, and I think NXT tags division has improved. So overall, yes, I think they have a better roster. And SmackDown from a storytelling standpoint, sometimes it still gets me, especially the Roman Reigns stuff. But other than that, yeah, NXT is probably the best that WWE has to offer across the board, especially if you think about a complete show.
Well, that's one I kind of felt when Adam Cole said that, especially with Gargano and others there as well. It was kind of, that's what the roster thinks. I think it's a great thing to be. And talking about Gargano, Johnny was on point. I mean, he's the leader of NXT. We talk about the kind of Bret Hart of NXT, where it is. He says the people who doubt him will eat their words. He says his last championship was a joke with the main title, and he wants to change that. I actually can't remember the last takeover without him, whether it be for the North American title, for the NXT championship in a grudge match. In my mind, think maybe when he was injured. Like the last time he missed a takeover, he is Mr. Consistent as well.
Yeah, definitely Mr. Takeover. He has it in his name for a reason. If there is ever like a WWE Hall of Fame just for NXT, or just like if you could get into the Hall of Fame based on an NXT career, if his career ended today, Gargano would probably be the first, and I don't know about only in like the NXT wing of the Hall of Fame, if they want to separate it or not. Like that's really how accomplished he is on that brand. And like you said, one of the most important, him and Finn Balor at this point have edged out two of the most impressive NXT careers that you can think of. So yeah, definitely Gargano deserves all of the love. And I love you highlighting that Bret Hart role, or like that leadership role. He's definitely one of those names that are synonymous with NXT.
Yeah, that Grimes also was there, and he said he worked from the bottom, and he looked around and he said, you didn't, and he looked at Gonzalez, goes, you did, so we cool, which is smart of him. Most of the questions directed to Grimes and Knight, L.A. Knight, were from Spain, which is fine over like a 45-minute period when you're getting different questions. But when you look and go, so 3 people from Spain asked a question about this match, they must really dig it. You know what I mean? Like, and then we had Kyle O'Reilly saying Grimes is one of the best wrestlers ever because Grimes had just paid him off. And then finally, Frost was asked if he will go down as the brand's greatest ever champion. He said, I'm not a very big fan of undermining people's intelligence. I don't think that's really something anyone in this business should put on themselves. I think the universe and NXT fans should decide who the greatest will be in due time. Cross responded. You talk about greatest NXT champions of all time. I think for me, there's a couple that definitely on the list. I think Gargano doesn't make it, but I think Adam Cole and Finn Balor for me would definitely be out there. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I think by far Finn Balor, Adam Cole, definitely. I'm trying to think of anyone who else who would stay. A lot of the we had a nice run of NXT champions who I love Kevin Owens' run. I don't know if that makes him best ever, but pretty good. Especially since he brought the title on the main roster brand and debuted the way he did. But at the same time, I don't his don't compare to Adam Cole and Finn Balor's run. So yeah, Finn Balor and Adam Cole are the main two that comes to mind. You can whichever one is your fave, you can choose out of them. But I love his answer though. I love Cross's answer. It's very honest and very truthful. It really isn't anything he can do to determine it because it's gonna change depending on who you're asking most of the time anyway. So.
Yeah, I figured out that, but like I said, the press conference, I quite enjoyed it. I thought it was better than the kickoff, which unfortunately we've got to cover next. Of course, 13th of June. We've got the pre-show. Sam Roberts and Justin Bariso hosted the show and ran through the lineup. Justin looked to be shitting it. I don't know if he was scared or it looked like he was stooping under a doorway each time. Now, I'm sorry, if he's got an affliction like that, which I don't know about, I apologise, but it was just so odd to see someone so uncomfortable,
I see, and that's one of those things, the pre-show is what it is. Like you said, we don't know. Hopefully, maybe it was nerves, maybe it was, in this particular. I don't know how many times he's been the pre-show host. I don't know. Haven't really been keeping up with these things, like I mentioned. But yeah, honestly, I am uncomfortable when the pre-show kicks off. So at least he had someone also there, just because most of the time I don't want to watch the pre-show. So you weren't alone, my guy. I just want you to know.
Well, we're going to get through it, goddammit. We get footage airing from early in the day of Ted DiBiase's limo arriving with security detail. DiBiase emerged from the limo with one of the security guards carrying the $1 million title belt inside a briefcase. We see a video package, of course, of LA Knight versus Cameron Grimes. And then we have an advert for TakeOver. Why the fuck have an advert for TakeOver when you're watching the show? What the fuck? Do they think we're idiots?
I don't, sometimes they stream it. I think because sometimes I've been on social media and they're streaming the pre-show live on Twitter, or sometimes they'll stream it on YouTube. So maybe they're trying to get some more Peacock subscriptions. But yeah, it never made sense to me. I remember being at a WrestleMania and sitting through that pre-show years ago in New Orleans, and while the pre-show going on, we're promoting WrestleMania to us also. People in the arena are watching an advert for the thing we've already bought a ticket for. It's like, what do you want me to do? You want me to get on the WWE network while I'm in my seat? I'm here. Why do I have to see it?
Well, the thing of it is is that on as well? I just came to watch the Battle Royal.
Oh yeah, I was just here for the pre-show. That's definitely why I spent all of this money for.
We see footage of Kyle O'Reilly arriving at the venue early in the day. He was confronted by the Way members who arrived at the same time. Riley got into a brief shoving match with Johnny Gargano, Austin Theory, while Candice LeRae and Indy Hartwell stood by. Security and Willie Regal quickly intervened. I mean, Regal is going to have a heart attack before too long. He can't keep at this pace.
Yeah, I feel so bad for him. This is the worst job ever. I would be demanding a bonus, especially from Triple H, who we know calls the shots, but he's just only around when he wants to be. No, I need a bonus, Hunter. You're not gonna have me breaking up. I'm in control all the time, but then now you pop up when you want to, and
act all cool with Poppy. Yeah, you act all nice, and have a little love pop, and then you fuck off when all the shit breaks down. Where are you? I'm in the middle of this.
I would be so stressed every time I see Hunter backstage. When things are going to pop off and you are nowhere to be found.
We see a video package airing of Raquel Gonzalez and Ember Moon. We get footage airing of Arash Markazi interviewing Bronson Reed, Wesley and Nash Carter early in the day. He then joined them and discussed the Reed and MSK versus the Legado del Fantasma tag team matchup. There was... I'll get onto it in a minute because I want to get through this quickly. We see Legado del Fantasma speaking about what the NXT Championship means to them as well. And it's funny how being together a whole year is such a massive achievement. They were saying, like, Legado's been together a whole year. No.
It's getting that bad for teams and factions in WWE. We're celebrating.
Can't last 4. What? Been together 4 months. Wow, that's amazing. It'll turn on you soon enough.
Right. Oh my god.
We get a cool TikTok ad. I'm not into TikTok, but I like the ad. And then the host briefly discussed Mercedes Martinez versus Ian Lee. And then the 3 guys standing there looked like aliens dressing up as humans. Now, I don't know if it's me, but they were trying on their human skins. And Sam, the middle, Roberts was the kind of who's played a human before, but the other 2 were just not sure how this worked. Like, that's what I thought. I may be crazy. I'm sure other people thought that as well.
After listening to that, now I want to watch the pre-show.
My work here is done. Finally, the focus for the main event as well. Well, what was the point of that? You should listen to our podcast update. We're glad this is only half hour. Go back and listen to the next update because obviously it's got more about it. We did a much better show hyping as well. So that was a kickoff. So we're going to move on now to the main show. And I love to start for nearly a decade, the revolutionary force in sports entertainment. It was just took me right in there, took me straight in. And then we see a really retro intro with a video package running through the takeover matches with Todd Pettingill voiceover. And then Doc Hem just closed out by playing up the In Your House theme. We see Naomi Fox, Naomi Fox, walk onto the stage and perform the In Your House theme song. There was speculation of the performance being hindered by either technical difficulties or bad lip syncing. We cannot confirm or deny. And then Todd Pettingill was introduced as the host for the show. He walked onto the stage and said it was good to be home. And he played up the fact that it was the biggest crowd to date, at least. What did you think of the opening? I loved everything apart from the song, I think would be fair to say.
See, you took the words right out of my mouth.
I've got to stop doing that. I'm talking enough.
Everything was fine. You know what I mean? It was cool. I enjoyed the theme. I enjoyed the intro and like the way it was narrated. Everything hit home for me. Literally, I think that's what they were trying to do. In more ways than one, they wanted to hit home, and they did. So that was cool. But as soon as the live performance started, I immediately was like, "Yep, this took a turn, an unexpected turn." I was not ready for it. Like, it had to be something going on. Maybe it was technical difficulty. Definitely some lip syncing, because I don't think she was saying what I was hearing. Yeah, it's one of those situations where what you were seeing didn't match up with what you heard. And the song was not that good anyway. Like, it was repetitive, so it was just bad. Okay, that's the only thing I say. I can't even do it justice. The song part kind of just threw it all off for me. But I knew that things would pick up once the wrestling began, so I just immediately was ready to look forward.
Well, it's funny. WWE Network should have tweeted out like, "There's not technical difficulties. This is just shit."
Exactly. Because I don't know what technical difficulty could explain that mess. That's all I can say. I don't know how they could explain it with just a technical difficulty. It just wasn't any good.
No, I tell you what music was good though in the intro package. It's the old style that you've not heard for 20 years, like all that kind of this stuff that we used to really get you excited. Yeah, exactly. Oh, yeah, you go, oh my god, and now they just don't do it anymore. But hang on, we love NXT. People listen to this go, they fucking hate it. No, seriously. The virtual fan screens are gone and increased the number of fans in the building. They also use the in-house set on the entry stage. The set. What did you think was the set? Like I said, I think it looked awesome.
Yeah, it looks great for what they could work with, I guess, in the CWC. It wasn't breathtaking, but it accomplished the goal. Again, I think I said this last time we reviewed it In Your House. Do you remember the old sets? It wasn't necessarily they didn't have as much production value as as WWE had as time went on. But they got the point across. Everything looked nice, and it was definitely great to see the people back in the stands. I've been loving the more and more the more increased volume of fans I've been seeing across the bar when it comes to professional wrestling. So it's always cool. Everybody know the fans, the reactions. They make these shows 100 times better. So that is definitely a bright spot. But yeah, the set was cool. I thought it accomplished the goal, and it fit the aesthetic perfectly for what they were going for.
One last question before we get into the action then, or a couple of them. Excitement level for the event, seeing as we did build up for 3 hours, and also what is the match? What is the match you're most looking forward to seeing on the show?
So my excitement, I hope this matches our long review. I was relatively excited. I don't think that match did at all after saying what I thought. Uh, but the show itself, the match that I know that I was just thinking about constantly was definitely with the best build and everything was Grimes and Knight to me. As much as I was looking forward to the Fatal Five Way, and I did enjoy that build also. Grimes and Knight has given me a little bit of everything. If you see what I mean, the comedy, the trying to figure out where the story was going, so it was a little suspense there, and you get paid off with a big time match and a ladder match stipulation. So and I just love everything Cameron's been doing. So I was ready to see that pay off. So yeah, definitely was looking forward to that match. But was I more excited than Stand and Deliver? No, it wasn't to that extent, but I definitely was excited for the show.
Well, I think Grimes tonight is the true main event. But let's start the action.
Yeah.
We've got Vic Joseph way back, Beth Phoenix on commentary, and we see Bronson Reed and MSK Wesley and Nash Carter versus Legado del Fantasma, Santos Escobar, White Wild, Raul Mendoza for the NXT North American Championship and the NXT Tag Team titles. Now, I'm not being racist, but every time I have to make sure.
Okay, hold on.
I have to make sure. No, yeah, no, hang on. Hang on, you don't know when this could take a really dark turn. But I'm not a racist, but I will say every time Mendoza or Wild are in the ring, I have to make sure. I look at them and I go, is that Mendoza or Wild? And then I'm like, that's definitely Mendoza. And again, I don't know if it's racist. I'm not saying all Lucha Libre wrestlers look the same. I'm just saying that sometimes I look and I go, which one's got gotcha. That's just me. Do you have any trouble with your Mexican wrestlers? you don't go, that's Andrade or something like that, you know?
Oh my God, this is going very left. Not right at all. This is going left. But anyway, I will say this: they do have masks on, so not being able to recognize somebody in a mask is pretty normal.
Well, the thing that I loved when I was thinking this, and then they had their names on their tights, and I thought, you exactly the same.
Oh my God.
Well,
the only thing
anyway,
I will say this: they have two different body types for me. Okay, there you go. Joaquin Wilde is a little more lanky. So like I kind of use his limbs, his lankier, longer arms to be able to tell the difference. And then Mendoza is a stockier guy. So if they ever lose weight, I don't know. If Mendoza lose weight, maybe I don't know. But at the same time, yeah, I think I can tell them apart. I will say that I can tell them apart. But I will say that when you start off a city with I'm not racist, nothing good comes out of it.
I didn't know.
No matter what. I've never heard it turned the right way. I've just never heard it used the right way. That's all I'm saying.
You say in a sentence, look, I'm not racist, but
just stop right there. Whenever people, if you're out there, if that ever come to your mind, and you say, I'm not racist, but just stop it. Just leave it.
That you're racist. You are. Send any emails to the WNR podcast at gmail.com. So we had a match, and it was definitely Mendoza who started with Lee with their teams with exchange of quick takedown attempts for Carter and Wild, tagged in and did their own routine. Neither man had a clear advantage till the thick boy came in, and after Escobar found out how heavy Reed was the hard way, he tagged in an enthusiastic Wild. The North American champion was pinned with a big slam for him, and MSK hit a triple T move for another 2 count. There was some lovely chemistry and moves from MSK and Reed as well, which I really, really enjoyed.
I was surprised by that, man. I didn't know how much they had worked together, but they definitely came up with some moves together, so that was cool.
Well, everyone took turns hitting dives out of the ring until Reed took out everyone with a gigantic suicide dive. I was amazed by him diving and laugh at what Beth Phoenix said. She said it's raining men, which again...
I caught that.
What a sequence that is. And once they got back in the ring, the guy there for a long time, but keeping Lee isolated in the corner with quick tags. We've seen assisted 450 by Legado, which I'm trying to think, have I seen that before or not? Santos with the Michinoku driver on Reed, managing to get him up. Lee saved his team by flight, literally. Outside, Reed ended up putting Escobar through the barricade to take him out of the match. This allowed him and MSK to take out Wild and Mendoza. Mendoza at MSK's finisher, then squashed by the Tsunami. What were your thoughts on this opening match?
Man, this match was way funner than it had any right to be. I thought everyone deserves some credit. Everyone involved. They could have phoned this match in. It was a 6-man match. They could have made it look like any other 6-man tag or just like a regular TV NXT match, but they definitely came out there with the intention to set a good tone for TakeOver, and I think they accomplished that. And they put on a show. Reed destroying Escobar again was obviously the highlight. Honestly, it was just I knew as soon as he looked at us, like once you look at the camera directly, I just knew, okay, yeah, he's about to get wiped out, and that's exactly what happened. And the sound effect was just perfect. Like it just no more like R.I.P. Santos Escobar. I read that on my timeline while the match was going as the match ended, and I was just like, yeah, I understand it. without the context of watching it, I understand that why you think, yeah, rest in peace, because that was a crazy spot. But it was beautiful. I love the callback, and the predictability I thought would come into effect didn't really matter because the match was just that fun. So I gave it 3.5 stars.
Well, 3.5 stars there. Well, like I said, it was a great way to start. I think Escobar will get another shot. He can maybe argue that he wasn't involved. Like I said on Update, there's a smell of Lee, and he's getting that momentum, which is all important for a good guy, isn't it? I think people forget that sometimes.
Yeah, and just being on the winning side in this situation, and this helped both champions, both sets of champions. Like I said, MSK, got moments to shine in this match. Reed obviously shining. Like we said, Escobar is the man. I think he had his role now, especially post CrossFit. Escobar's role has been a foil that they feel like they can put anywhere. And, because he's that good, he believes in this character, and he's so believable himself in the ring. He can take advantage, and he has credibility. And I love that because being a long reigning cruiserweight champion in WWE has never really meant much. So when you see how much of a threat he is to titles now, even off of just a long cruiserweight title reign, it just shows you how we look at that cruiserweight belt completely different than we have in the past. So I like that. But yeah, the future is looking bright. I think Escobar and Reed will meet one-on-one down the line.
Yeah, I've heard about that, and I think Legado is still the most AEW thing about NXT, which is not a bad thing when it comes to it. I liked him matching outfits, and like I said, the moves of MSK and Lee and Bronson Reed, and Wesley is great. I don't know if I've said that yet, but is there a chance MSK become too bland as a face team, or can they work their kind of cocky heels into that character if they need to be?
I honestly, based on some, like I said, I've mentioned this before here, some people's reactions, because some people hate them already. I don't think they've been around long to really even been given a chance, but I guess I definitely can see how they can come off as bland. They don't, their match style is cool, but once you've seen it, we all know that can get not only repetitive, but if you're not doing what you need to do with them story wise or character wise, then it doesn't matter how good you are in the ring, you can come off stale. So I don't know. I really would like to see more of their personalities first before I can say how they would work as heels right now. I know their wrestling style can get them over, but what do we really know about them character wise other than Nash Carter's father passing away, or that, and having that little bit of story, like how much it meant to him to become a champion. That's pretty much it. They haven't really haven't given us much character other than that. Other than that, they're cracking jokes and they're just accepting challenges. So until I get to see more of what they have charisma wise, I don't know if they would work as a heel right now. I think what they're doing right now is what they're best suited for, based on what I've seen them be allowed to show us.
But I think that's an excellent point as well, when you talk about what have we learned. And it's the same thing with Bronson Reed. We've just worked out, or just been told he's got a wife and he's had this journey now, which adds stuff. But again, not to hark on about it, but just if you look at Adam Cole and Johnny Gargano in context, we know their wives are wrestlers. Do you know what I mean? We know everything about them. We know what they like, what they don't like. And I think sometimes it gets forgotten about, where, especially with a good guy wrestling in the face, like, you need a reason to like them, whether it will be whatever it is with stuff they like and stuff they do. So scores out of 5 anyway. You said
4. Yeah, I gave 3.
I thought this was a great way to start, so I'm going to give it a 4. Prediction wise, it is Monty versus James yet again. Both went Reed and MSK, so it's 1 all there. Poll wise, 69% for the faces, so not much surprise. We get a SummerSlam ad airing and hyping tickets going on sale. We get Hell in a Cell advert as well, and then we get footage from the pre-show of Kyle O'Reilly's pre-show issues of the way. So I didn't really have to watch the pre-show. Anyway, we see Gill tried to use a VHS tape to set up highlights, but Mackenzie Mitchell stopping him and had to truck roll footage of Mercedes Martinez defeating Zia Lee in the Mae Young Classic. This was just brilliant.
Yeah, I loved it. I also felt old immediately once I realized that it's little kids at home trying to figure out what was he holding and why was he doing that. Like, what kind of TV is that? Like, I bet it was some kid with questions that would have made me feel very, very old.
Mummy, what's he doing to that machine? Exactly. Wow, son. Our next match is Mercedes Martinez versus Zia Lee. Mi Ying watched the match from a chair on the stage, and Zia Lee coming out for her entrance. The attire, the blue attire, like she had the sword. She looked awesome. There's no other word, is there, really?
$1 million. Looked like $1 million. That's back to like what we were saying. Sometimes you can just feel that. Like that's, and I'm not saying it's the first time she's looked like that, because she's always in great shape and all of that. But like, she looked like a star, a legit star right there. No matter what you think about the background or whatever else, when she came out and the lights and the pose and all that, oh yeah, she looked legit.
Right, well, we get on to the match, and they locked up and fell out of the ring fighting for control. Martinez had the upper hand until Lee used an illegal hold to wear her down for a full 5 count. Lee dominated Martinez until she avoided a kick at ringside, and Lee hit the ring post. She almost failed to make it back into the ring by the count of 10. From that moment forward, Martinez was in the driver's seat, but then after a short scuffle at ringside, Lee nailed Martinez with a kick out of nowhere for the win. What were your thoughts on the match first? Because this is a bit surprising that this was the takeover match to begin with, though.
Yeah, it was, like I said. So based on expectations, this is probably a bright. Maybe I expect to go a little bit longer, but not really. I mean, like, my expectations for this was probably going to be something like that, like this. It was competitive, but it wasn't like too competitive. I wasn't a squash either though. So it was just like one of those, like, just a solid match, maybe something you would see on the NXT. So maybe it didn't have much room for our takeover based on what we're used to seeing on takeover, especially in the women's division. But I thought it was a solid match, and we need a badass name for Xia Lee's kick, the finish, because I didn't like how everybody reacted to it, but no one had a name. It would have been a great time to drop that name and introduce people who may not know much about Xia or haven't seen this character. It would have been nice to have a nice name for that, because it reminds me of the Trouble in Paradise, basically, is what it looked like. So, but I like it, and and I think they should keep protecting Xia Lee, and because in this match, what I learned from her is that she's more about hurting the opponent than she used to be, and I like
Yeah.
that character trait. So it was definitely some things there, but yeah, the match wasn't really wasn't really like a takeover worthy match. So I gave the match itself 3.25. But yeah, I thought for the storytelling purposes, it accomplished its goal.
Yeah, I mean, it was as good as it could have been, I suppose. And,
Right.
you talk about, we talked about this on Update, NXT Update the past, few months or so, about this being a secondary women's feud.
Right.
That is kind of telling a story, building them up, and it's on a takeover. And the fact is, all the men's kind of feuds and stuff like that will be on there. So why not have this on? And yeah, like I said, maybe it's not the level we expect, but we are spoiled when it comes to takeovers as well.
Exactly.
And then I thought, why is this match? And then it wasn't until what happened afterwards I thought, right, this is why it's on Takeover, because Boa handed Lee a chair after it was over. Mm-hmm. She hesitated long enough for Martinez to recover and take it from her. She proceeded to take up both members in Shah with a chair, but then the masked leader stood up on the stage and approached Martinez. They had a long stare down from me and grabbed her by the throat. Martinez tried to block it, but then Ying right back to throw it again and throw it off the platform to end the segment. Do not mess with the death grip. Ying there showing that she will dominate, I suppose.
Exactly. I don't really know. I'm the exact same way. Like, does this but it has me, and that's the reason why I agree with you that this is when I realized, yeah, this is why it's here, because now I'm way more interested to see, like I said, how much more will we see of Mei Ying? Does that mean she will be getting physical more going forward? Is she going to get in the ring at some point? Is that what we're going to end up getting? Is that the payoff? Because maybe I would think it's about the refocus of Xia Li, but maybe this whole entire story was really setting us up for, also another addition to the women's division who can be dominant. Because doing someone like Mercedes like that, even though Mercedes hasn't won much, she does have a look. She does have a threatening demeanor about her character. So the fact that she can just get thrown away like that means something. And that's a great way of establishing this new mythical character that we don't know much about. So it definitely got me even more interested in what Tian Sha has going as a whole and what does the future look like, So
yeah,
I thought this was the true goal of this segment, was establishing that, and I like that it got the spotlight of a takeover.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I'm in. Like you said, I am into this if that's what we're going to do. Out of 5, I'm going to give this a 3.75 out of 5, just because of the after-match shenanigans. Right. I do like me some shenanigans, so I'm going to add that. You gave that 3.25 out of 5, didn't you, for that one?
Yes,
so.
Yes, sir.
Prediction wise, we both went Xia Li, so it's 2-2 for that, and poll wise, Lee got 68%. We see the dangerous bastards, Tommaso Ciampa and to Thatcher. They get fired up while talking about the Tornado tag match with the Grizzled Young Vets that will air on NXT next. On a side note, because I did enjoy the promo, I would love to see the Way feud with the Dangerous Bastards for the tag gold, because then it would add another layer to the Gargano,
Yeah, they would be a great team to put them against, especially since they are the opposite. So, you have such seriousness from the Dangerous Bastards and intensity, and you have Gargano and Theory cracking jokes, or one of them being an idiot and the other one being so over the top that it works perfectly. And someone needs to check on Ciampa and Thatcher's chairs because they get abused weekly. So I've always noticed that about these promos, and those chairs, man, they get slammed up against the wall and whatever else. Like, they have no care for those chairs at all.
The chair's like, you're going to treat me right? Yeah, no, you'll be fine. Are you sure? Because last time, no, sit down. And then, whoop away. Did it again. Speaking of chairs, well, speaking of chairs, we move on seamlessly to ladders, because we've got a video package for the ladder match next. We've got Ted DiBiase making his entrance. He's accompanied by 2 security guards. One of the guards, of course, carried a clear case that contained the $1 Championship belt. LA Knight and Cameron Grimes made their entrances. Grimes, of course, was cheered to the moon. And then we get on to the match. And LA Knight used his size advantage to push Grimes around a bit at the start. Grimes found a way to get the upper hand before Knight tried to bring the ladder into the ring. Grimes narrowly avoiding getting crushed by a ladder a couple of times. They tried to use it as a weapon a few times unsuccessfully before it finally became a factor. Knight got squashed against a barricade with a ladder, which was quite impressive. And what I was more impressed with, and you know me, Monty, I love little things. The apron came down, broke during the matchup. Referee just literally went round the corner, fixed it nice and quickly without any issues. I was like, that is good work, mate. That is good work.
You notice the littlest thing, man. I don't understand. See, you make me realize that I watch the wrestling, but sometimes I don't. I really don't watch the wrestling. Like, I don't know what I'm watching sometimes on the things you notice, because I would have never picked that up because I'm just not paying attention to the ref. But there you go. Good job, ref.
Good job, man. Good job. I don't know. Grimes sent Knight into a ladder with a beautiful release German suplex. Knight got his revenge with a net breaker onto the side of the ladder. Fucking hell, that was some bump. In a funny spot, Knight went to send Grimes into a ladder, but got sent head first into it himself, which I was liking. Then he got backdropped into one and sent over the top onto another ladder. Which again, you're thinking the risk that these guys are taking. Grimes ended up bringing the biggest ladder, especially painted gold for the occasion. Both men climbed the opposite sides, began to brawl at top. Knight fell first, but knocked the ladder over to prevent Grimes from securing the belt. We then see some ladder construction, and it's a bit like tables matches. If you see a table set up or a ladder set up, that's for later. You know, we're gonna put that there. Move on. And we see Grimes climbing part of the set that took out his opponent with a huge dive. Now, I don't think we've talked. I mean, we've put Grimes over a hell of a lot for character and everything like that, but Cat can move, so to speak. And the way he got up there and jumped down, that is an impressive dive as well, you know?
Oh, man, yeah, I think either someone on commentary called him nimble as a cat. I mean, he definitely is nimble at times. That he and the thing that's the best thing about him, like, for example, I love Ricochet, but he's so athletic and he looks like he's athletic just by looking at him. You can tell that he's an athlete. So when he do something amazing, it's impressive, but he looks like a great athlete. Cameron Grimes looks like a regular guy. He's like an everyday guy, and he does things so effortlessly. Something as simple as his Spanish fly when someone runs towards him, the way he does it. He does it so easily that he doesn't even get the credit he deserves for how athletic he is. But he's definitely one of those guys who's sneaky athletic. But it was beautiful. I love the dive, and it reminded me he did it like we all look for. Every takeover is a tradition. EO dives off something. He took her place just in that one little spot.
Well, that's beautiful as well, because like I said, EO's the coolest wrestler going, and Grimes to do that is also one of our favourites. And I'll let people in a little secret. You got Cameron Grimes, Trent Seven, and then me. I'll leave that with everybody. This was awesome, that dive off the top, and should have been the end. But unfortunately, Knight tipped over the ladder and sent Grimes crashing into another. Ladder construction delivered. And then LA Knight climbed up and retrieved the belt to win the match. And afterwards, WRC pulled the $1 Million Championship out of the case. Was it tonight? There were sparkler-style pyro boxes on the ring apron that was set off. What were your thoughts on this match?
My first initial thought was that damn Triple H. Like, he did it again with that. Because again, it's not that he knew that how I felt like Cameron Grimes is supposed to win. He weaved the story that way on purpose, just so the loud, obnoxious heel character can ruin everyone's dreams. But I honestly, the match was so fun to me and so good that the finish didn't take away from it. That it didn't. Him playing spoiler went right in line with the way he spoiled everything Cameron was trying to do at times. Any big spot that Cameron wanted to do, he was always one step ahead to spoil it. So him coming away with the finish, the win, that match in the same fashion worked for me. It was good to hear how over Cameron Grimes was. It was nice to see that it's not just us. It's that it's not just us who like him. We're not, we all have been paying attention. We all been seeing how great Cameron Grimes is and has been. So especially since returning, so it was nice to see that. Nice to see his reaction. If you wasn't sold on Grimes before this match, I just think this match is. I don't see how, but I think this match is another example of his greatness. And I have to give props to LA Knight. I always make the point to highlight how much I didn't care about him as Eli Drake. But LA Knight, man, he took a lot of damage not only in this match, like I mentioned before, a great foil, and his work has been a highlight when he's been given time so far ever since he's joined NXT. Especially on takeovers, even in that elimination match he was in, he flashed greatness. And a lot of the times they've given him a chance. So I really have to give him props, especially since I've been killing him, for a long time personally. So I really like that he proved his worth in this match. Of course, I still believe Grimes should have won, but they just weave something beautiful, and now I'm excited for Grimes' chase for the title. So I'm going with 4.5 stars.
Well, like I said, I mean, there's a lot of things to cover there, and it's true. It's like the journey. I think we got caught up in it. If you're thinking about the chase now for Grimes, it's going to be. I mean, think about Virgil beating $1 million man for that title, and that reaction there. And that's basically what you've got now of like
exactly
Grimes kind of having that moment. And we asked about where Knight was going to go. We saw him debut at pre-show. We spoke about it. We wondered where he'd fit in. He's kind of different type of character than we usually see. And now the $1 million man, and I loved it on commentary where they're kind of talking about the last non-family member to hold $1 million title was Steve Austin, which just that little thing. It's like remember when King of the Ring mattered, and they go, these are the guys that won it. Like it actually kind of immense saying. I mean, the biggest match of either's career, and both smashed it. An A for effort, neither held back, and Grimes is just so damn likable. Yeah, this was great. I'm going to give this a 4.5 out of 5 as well. It was everything you'd want from a takeover match, isn't it?
I agree 100%. It had the story. It had, like you said, everyone fulfilled their roles perfectly. And like I said, Cameron Grimes in that role, like even though we've always been liking him, he still was wrestling primarily a heelish style, really just up to this match, really pretty much, because even when he wrestled Jake Atlas a few weeks ago, he was kind of the bad guy in that scenario, the way he wrestled. In this particular match, seeing how easily he can translate his style as a babyface also, it just puts him over the top. Like he's obviously going to be one of the biggest stars especially if they keep him in the NXT and they just continue to grow. He can this time next year, who knows what he could be doing at Takeover with this particular character. That's just how good I believe Cameron Grimes really has been in everything that he's been doing. But yeah, like you said, both guys shine in a big spot, and that's everything you can want out of a match with this build and on this platform.
About that. Well, prediction-wise, we both went Grimes, so it's 2-2 at this moment. Is it 2-2? No, it's 3-3. No, we got it wrong, didn't we?
We got it wrong, so it's 2-1.
Oh, God. See? I've got post-traumatic stress. I'm thinking Grimes won it. He didn't. We both got it wrong. We both got it wrong. God damn you. Poll-wise, 79% for Grimes as well. So at least they got it wrong.
So we all wrong.
We're all wrong together. Todd Pettengill was going to pimp some T-shirts when Hit Row showed up and stopped him. They showed off the new Hit Row T-shirt and hyped their new song, Now You Know, and said it's available on Spotify and elsewhere. And then cameras cut backstage with producers and security holding Cameron Cross and Pete Dunne apart. Of course, when Regal showed up, it wasn't pleased.
Poor Regal. Oh, my goodness. That was the underlying theme of not only this takeover, but like the last 3 or 4 NXTs. Poor William Regal.
But aren't you glad we caught it? Like, if we'd have missed that, you're like,
agreed.
Month, we saw that thread. But we move on to the co-main event, shall we say? We see a video package for the NXT Women's Championship match between Raquel Gonzalez and Ember Moon. This was a great promo. I mean, I know you've got a lot of love for Ember Moon, but she is the history of NXT women. I mean, yeah, people go Charlotte, Bayley. I put Bayley there, but Ember Moon is up there. And like I said, the wars with Asuka, it just shows you the incredible kind of career she's had in NXT so far.
Agreed. I think Ember gets forgotten. Asuka, who was undefeated, literally. Sometimes she gets mentioned, but I don't even think she gets the credit she deserves. So I don't know why. I don't know if it's because they're not necessarily considered like four horsewomen. A lot of people jump immediately to those four, and deservedly so in most cases. But like, if you're talking about just overall NXT, and especially with the tag team accomplishments now, like Ember Moon is definitely up there and definitely should be mentioned as one of the greatest in the women's division in NXT. And another one who gets left out, which I don't understand how, is Shayna Baszler. She don't get enough love. Maybe it's because of the way they do her on the main roster, but Shayna Baszler had a great run also as NXT Women's Champion. But Ember Moon is definitely comes to my mind probably before certain people that we love. Like Ember is probably more important as far as NXT goes than maybe Becky Lynch's run. Becky Lynch is great. Don't get me wrong, but she wasn't an NXT champion or on their level in NXT, and hasn't, like you said, those classic matches with Asuka and just everything that Ember has been able to do overall, in her career in NXT. Yeah, definitely deserves the credit. And I loved her mentioning that. It was because like you said, people needs to be reminded that she's on their level. She is with the Charlottes, with the Baileys, with the Oscars, Sasha Banks. She's in that conversation also.
Oh yeah, I mean, just quickly touching it. I love Oscar, and everybody that listens to the show will know that. But apart from maybe Bailey against Banks, I've never been more emotionally attached to someone wanting to win the championship as much as Moon to finally get that victory over Oscar, which she never had. Which I think is an even better story at times. You felt even you backed her even more afterwards. But we're backing her now because she's going to face Raquel Gonzalez. We see the ring announcer Alicia Taylor delivering the introductions. And then we see Moon hit a drop kick as soon as the ref called for the bell. She was aggressive. She kept Gonzalez reeling with quick strikes, but Gonzalez stopped her in her tracks by refusing to go down from a crossbody. She sent Moon flying into barricade from the apron with a shoulder tackle. The powerhouse yanked Moon off the mat and into a sidewalk slam with one arm. I say an impressive show of power. Bit of an understatement that would be, wouldn't it?
Yeah, man. She does one or two things every match where it's just like, that was too easy. Like, she just make it look so easy. Like, these are other human beings that she's just tossing around with ease. So yeah, she's unbelievably strong.
Well, we see Moon begin to build some momentum after a series of strikes and a code red for a close 2 count. The former champion wrapped the current champion in submission. Gonzalez made it to the bottom rope with Kai's help. Moon retaliated by taking Gonzalez out with a missile-like suicide dive. And again, you're going to say about my attention to detail, Beth Phoenix did a great job to avoid trouble with her headset. She noticed that people were coming over and kind of flicked it round rather than it getting caught up. And I thought, for someone that's only been doing commentary for 6 months or so, really well done, Beth. I would have tweeted it, but no one would have cared. So...
That's a good point, because I know I didn't notice that. But I will say this: the commentators, it's always hilarious when for some reason they're not ready for it. I love when they just get caught in the middle of it. I don't know how. Like, you see them walking towards you and you still have to jump up at the last second. It's hilarious all the time. So I do think that if she showed the foresight like that, she's wise beyond her commentating years.
We see Kai distracted open the door for Gonzalez to try several things, but Moon refused to stay down for the count. She hit Gonzalez with the Eclipse, but when she went for the pin, Kai put the foot on the rope to break the count. I mean, she can't beat the Eclipse, can she? Was this? Did this take away from Gonzalez a little bit that Kai had to help her?
That was going to be part of my takeaway, man. I really hated that. I really did, because I even mentioned it in our update. I really would have preferred if Raquel found a way to either power out or do the dramatic roll out of the ring, anything other than I definitely didn't expect her to need Kai, because and I know she's in a different place character wise now than she was when she beat Io in that situation, but when you beat Io the way you did, not needing any help, she took moonsaults and she got ultimately put over basically by Io. And then you get in this situation and now you have Kai. I know y'all are trying to be extra heelish now, I guess, or now you're back into your heel role that they were using for much of last year. But it definitely took away from Gonzalez to me. And it's not a big deal. It's not a bad thing because it is the Eclipse. I told you last time in the update, the Eclipse is literally one of the most protected, as it should be, because it's awesome. One of the most protected finishers in WWE ever since she's been using it. So I don't mind it because it is the Eclipse, but I really wish she just rolled out of the ring or got her leg up on her own, because that does kind of take away from everything that Raquel has been building, because she's been so dominant and unstoppable, whether she had Dakota with her or not. And so
Yeah, I was about to say, and it makes you think, will they point of Kai, and Kai will be saying, well, look at these moments where I did help you
right.
out. But her getting involved did bring the returning Shotzi Blackheart out to chase her to the back. It's great to
And
see
Shotzi
Shotzi.
made
It's a
it
kind
all
of,
better.
yeah,
She's like a
exactly.
band-aid when you cut and you get cut. She made it all better. Made the boo
Well,
boo better, as they say around here.
I'll let her kiss my boo boo, I should say. But
Oh
the
God.
the battle of the hair color between the two as well, as they fought to the back.
Yeah.
Moon, Moon hit her today, the DDT onto the elevated platform next to the ring for a near fall. Fucking hell, Gonzalez just went splat on the
Yeah.
outside. And then moments later, Gonzalez blocked an Eclipse. I don't know if they botched the first part of the I don't know if it was going to go straight from the Eclipse into the one-arm powerbomb, but they
Yeah.
did a kind of re-maneuver, so to speak. One-arm powerbomb. Gonzalez retained her championship, so she did have a reversal for the Eclipse, is the question we asked on Update the other day. But what did you think about the match overall?
Overall, I thought the match was solid. I didn't think there was anything wrong with it. It was really good to watch. It's always fun to see how creative these girls can be when it comes to not only overcoming Gonzalez's power, but using her power to make unique, you know, like we said, not only reversals but just unique spots in general. So I just love looking at the many different ways that they try to do it. And I thought Ember Moon did a great job of being creative. And I thought Raquel did like you said, she overcame some sick spots at times. So she still looked tough. I don't want to, like I said, I don't want to say she needed Kai to win in that, but like when you do it like that, and it is after an eclipse, you can't look at that any other way. It did, like you said, it did accomplish the goal of bringing Shotzi Blackheart back. So I did think that made it better, but at the same time, Gonzalez did not look as unstoppable. So it is kind of nice to see a chink in that armor, kind of. And I do love the prospect of down the line, like you said, Dakota Kai possibly bringing up that you needed me, or I think even Wade Barrett literally said she got a piece. That Dakota Kai has a piece of that championship, or has a right to a piece of that championship. And like I'm just saying, even him talking like that just sounds like down the line Raquel will have a problem with that thought process, because at the end of the day, she earned that on her own. So uh, anyway, it go. The future is definitely bright. I can't wait to see what else happens. Maybe even I think Ember would deserve another shot. So maybe even another shot for Ember, especially with that finish. But we'll see what happens. Overall, I gave it all 3.5.
I thought this was a great match, especially considering this was after the ladder match as well.
Right.
I think
Yeah.
credit to both. NXT sure do build dominant women. I mean, we mentioned Oscar, Baszler there, and Gonzalez is another one.
Mm-hmm.
But she might need to turn face, because we talked about the Kai feud being there, and especially with, as we saw earlier with T and Shan, what they can maybe bring.
Right.
Gonzalez as a face versus them, I think might work out. Is that where we're kind of going with this, do you think? Because Gonzalez, when she smiles, it's so fucking intimidating. But I think as a face, just as long as she does exactly the same things, it will work.
I agree. I think she's one of those. Even like Rhea Ripley is a great example of someone who doesn't have to change too much to flip that switch. Like it really is all determined by how Rhea talks that day, or who she's talking to. Like that's how it works with Rhea Ripley, kind of. Like she can be a heel one night and more of a face the next, but it really just is determined by her opponent. I think Gonzalez's character can work in a similar fashion. And also, like you said, with like I said, a baby face a lot of times is only as good as the heel and the heel vice versa. You know what I mean? So with the right story and the right type of heel, someone like Dakota Kai who can take advantage, maybe even find some new muscle to replace her, to help out down the line. Who knows what that can turn into? You have so many options that you can do down the line, and I think more options than with Gonzalez as a heel. But it has to be a reason why I don't think they went on ahead and why they're trying not to pull the trigger. Maybe it's because Ember is just such a great contender that they thought it'd be smarter to make her a heel for this scenario. But I think definitely before Raquel loses this first reign, I think she will probably turn face down the line.
I would have to agree there. Prediction-wise, we both picked Gonzalez, so we are locked at 3 all. Poll-wise, Gonzalez got 70%. And we talked about, like, kind of, I didn't even think about Kai getting new muscle, much like, when Shawn Michaels got Sid after he got rid of Diesel.
Exactly. And that's exactly what my mind went.
Well, speaking of that, did you see the pictures? Because, of course, we're going to get onto the main event in a minute with Johnny Gargano dressed as HBK. But Austin Theory dressed as Diesel might be one of my favourite things this year. Posing with Shawn Michaels.
It was beautiful. And then, Indy was Razor. I think I'm assuming Candace was also Razor. I think they both were Razor. Or
I think the dog was Hunter.
The dog was Hunter. I was like, yeah, man, where's Hunter and 1-2-3 Kid? Go on, get some, throw everyone in there if you want. But anyway, it was great to see that, though. I liked it. And I do love Theory trying to look as jacked as possible, even though there's nothing he could possibly do to look 7 foot. There's nothing he could do to be 7 foot, but he tried, and he I don't know. As a matter of fact, if you look at the picture, he has his chest poked out to the point to where I don't think he was in that photo. I don't think.
But this is the thing, and you wonder why. It's like, why do you enjoy NXT? And go look at that picture. That encapsulates everything that we enjoy about NXT Update and doing the takeover shows. Obviously with the great wrestling, but that as well,
I love it. Yeah, and NXT is great with that. Like, not only being new and putting over new characters and trying new things, but also always giving that tip of the hat to the past. And if you grew up watching, this stuff like I did or like we did, it's always cool to mix that in with, today's product. It's always a nice little nod, and especially when you're being, like we always say, entertaining about it. And they've been doing that for a while now. So yeah, I agree. That picture is a perfect example of a lot of the things that we love about it.
Well, we see Tom Pettigill speaking backstage about someone stealing his Walkman. He then plays the old karate fighters game with Dexter Loomis. Pettigill asked how the women are treating him, and Loomis got really pissed and pulled off Pettigill's fight. Pettigill told him that he'd want it fair and square. Again, this is just brilliant.
And also, Pettigill hasn't been watching the show. No wonder the ratings are inconsistent. Why would you ask him that, Dexter? Come on, Pettigill.
We see an advert for NXT hyping the Great American Bash, which is going to be a themed episode of the weekly television show for July 6th. So I guess NXT Update, the next time the both of us will be together, say July 10th, that weekend, and afterwards.
Sounds good to me. Yeah, the 10th. Yeah. Sounds like a good time.
I can edit out if it's not. It's
That's fair. Like promising stuff on the air and then something happens and now I have to let all of you down.
Well, for the broadcast team,
we're good as of right now. We're good.
The broadcast team hyped the previously announced Tornado tag match and announced another Kushida Open challenge for NXT. And then we see a video package setting up the main event. We see Johnny Gargano backstage prior to making his entrance. He walked past William Regal and security, preventing Ember Moon, and shots you back up and fighting with Gonzalez and Kai. I mean, Regal was just, his head was right in the middle of everything at this point.
Every single time. And his face, and I love it. He was legit, he looked legit stressed because he's turning redder and redder with each interaction throughout the night. Throughout the night, he's just more and more stressed. Just having to break up fights. Like, again, poor William Regal.
Well, so it is the main event. It's Karrion Kross defending the NXT Championship versus Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly, Pete Dunne, and Johnny Gargano in a 5-way match. And it should come as no surprise that this bout started with a quick pace and never slowed down for a second. All 5 of these superstars are known for their athleticism and intensity. Their styles are different, but they can work at breakneck speeds. And what I liked about this was Cross had a single time with every one of the challenges as well when he had to go in.
Yes, I thought that was beautifully constructed. Also, something that just seemed like it goes hand in hand with the story that they all been telling, especially with, and it goes great with Cross's character. He wanted everyone, so like everyone gets a shot at the champion. You know, gets their one-on-one shot at him. So it was just a great. I don't know who came up with that, but yeah, definitely a beautiful way to start off.
Well, they had to team up to take Cross out. At one point, Gargano Dunn shoved Cross through the front door of the stage set. This took him out of the match for a few minutes, and then the other 4 men went back to the ring and began pairing up for different sequences. It was so good that you forgot the setup sequences. And what I mean by that is you see, I think Cole being put in a trio row with maybe Dunn in the corner, and then you forget about Gargano having the exchange, and then they hit the drop kick. You go, well, of course that was set up for, but like the ladder construction, but because it's so good, you forget about it and actually go into the action of it. We see Cross returning from a break and hitting a big F5 on Gargano. Gargano came back from the suicide dive onto O'Reilly. He appeared to hit his head on the bottom of the broadcast table. Gargano followed up with a dive on Cross and done, and he turned that into a DDT. We talk about Johnny Takeover. Like, that was just another level. And then Cole and Gargano fighting inside the ring. Talk about classic rivalries there. Cole went for the Panama Sunrise, but Gargano stuffed it and countered it into a pile driver style move for a near fall. Gargano performed a poison rana on Dunn. That was seeded by a big boot from Cole. All challenges were down inside the ring where This Is Awesome chant broke out. Dunn hit the bitter end and covered Cross, who kicked out at 2. Dunn went for a triangle through elbows to the head. The other 3 challengers turned to the ring to break up the submission. Dunn stomped the hands of Riding Gunn and then kicked both men. And then Dunn set up joint manipulation on Cole, but Cross gave both men a double Cito suplex. Cross cleared the ring and put Dunn in the cross-jacket submission hold. Dunn snapped Cross's fingers to break it. Gargano took out Dunn. Cross immediately put Gargano in his finisher. Gargano pushed off the ropes and into a pin for the 2 count. Cross maintained the hold, but Cole broke with a last shot. O'Reilly then took Cole out and formed a top rope knee drop on Cross and had him pinned, but Cole broke up with a super kick. He then threw a series of super kicks at the opponent. O'Reilly put Cole in a heel hook, but just as it looked like he was more interested in Adam Cole than anybody else, Cross returned to put O'Reilly in this cross-jacket submission and got the win when O'Reilly passed out. And whilst I take a breath, what did you think of that match?
And I'm glad, the fact that you ran out of breath is a perfect way to break this down, because it was at a breakneck pace. It was so, like you said, it was so many times in this match where it was just almost too much to keep up with, and I love that element. I love like how frantic it was. Cole and O'Reilly worked together at one point to take out Cross with the with the shield like power bomb. I love that spot, knowing that they hate each other, and watching them do that, it was just a great little callback to that rivalry. Dunn and Cross having a standoff at one point basically had me just so hyped. I was very, very hyped. And everyone in the match had moments to shine, as you broke down. And with Cross still prevailing and looking great in the process, I love, though, this is what I love the most. He won, and it wasn't in a way that continued that unbeatable feeling that he had, because it was many moments in that time in that match where it's not just him beating, not just like them having chance to win the title from other people, like for example, but like Kyle O'Reilly had him in a predicament where the match could have been over. Pete Dunne hit the bitter end, even though he kicked out early on an early 2 count, like nowhere close to 3. It still was a predicament that we've never really got a chance to see Cross in. So him not looking unbeatable has me so excited for possible one-on-one contenders like Adam Cole, like Pete Dunne, maybe O'Reilly down. Matter of fact, all of these guys in a one-on-one scenario could challenge Cross in the future, and I would be happy about it, based on not only just how much we got to see of a teaser of what a one-on-one match with these guys would be like. And just whenever Cross took his breaks a couple of times, and you just let the other 4 guys have a fatal 4-way, the match was just almost like, and not to say Cross held them back, because he didn't. He contributed, and I thought his addition to the match was a nice. He was a great addition, plus a addition along with the story that they were trying to tell. Anyway, he could fulfill his goal perfectly. But all four of those guys, when they were by themselves, you can't tell me. It's like they almost went to another gear. Almost. You see what I mean?
The thing is, as what I put, apart from Cross, all four up there with the world's best. Now, that's not having a go at Cross, because Cross is out of the 5. If you go like, which one of these dudes is going to be a WWE champion? Cross, because of his look. Do you know? And that's not a go at the other 4, but the other 4, and they are the best. You know, like O'Reilly, maybe you could argue, but the other 3, like their track record over the past 3 years is incredible. Like I said, this match in itself was just, even though it was predictable and stuff like that, just the action was jaw dropping at times. You're going, this was a proper main event, you know, like, and even you said the finish of it was clever because it wasn't Cross dumping each man out individually and finally finishing it. It was him with, like you said, O'Reilly taking his off the ball for a second, getting caught, and it was kind of like Cross getting out of there, you know, as in, I've got the submission, let's get out of it, and I've survived it, so to speak, which we've never seen before.
Agreed. Like, that's exactly what I mean. Like, this in every other match, he decisively finished his opponent, whether it was Cole, whether it was Keith Lee, no matter who it is, Balor. He has been decisively the better man. And in that particular match, you can't tell me that it wasn't some people who not only looked better in moments, it was situations where it looked like Cross definitely could have lost this match. And like I said, it was predictable, but that predictability went away at many times based on not only what happened when Cross was not involved, but even when he was involved, he didn't look leaps and bounds better than Pete Dunne. He didn't look leaps and bounds more dominant than Adam Cole or anybody. You know what I mean? He was on their level, but he wasn't on their level because when they were, like I said, they went into another gear, even with Kyle included. Like, Kyle may not have the name value that the other guys got, but I believe as far as in-ring work, as far as grappling, striking, we know what he did with Finn Balor. He is also in that league has that special gear. And I think everyone else in this match went to this special gear that only certain guys in this business can go. And that's why I believe, like you said, those 3 guys especially are like top 5, top 10 in the world, you know, at this stuff. And that's because of, you know, like those, just like you said, it's moments in this match where I can't describe it. I would recommend that you just go seek it out and watch their interactions, because that's just how good it was. This is like a perfect main event. Great main event.
Sorry, I was about to say, anybody just listening to me and going, that sounds like a good match. Like, literally, I fucking murdered it. Like, go and watch it. Like, I can't do it justice. Like, me going, and then he kicked him is not. Sorry, carry on about how great the match is.
Exactly. It's so good. Like, I'm running out of things to say. And then, like I said, from a storytelling standpoint going forward, now Cross, if you asked me a couple updates ago who would challenge Cross, and I couldn't think of anyone who had a chance. Coming out of this match, like I said, I got at least 3 or 4 good challengers who I believe now, like you said, Pete Dunne, we said that would be a great matchup, but now it looks even more like he's even more of a threat, because in the few times that they got a chance to touch, Pete Dunne, he showed that he could get out of the Cross jacket with a little bit of joint manipulation. He showed that he can strike with Cross. He can hit the bitter end on Cross. So that's a great match that I would be looking forward to see. Adam Cole took advantage of a lot of great scenarios, but at the same time, we all know that's part of Adam Cole's thing. He doesn't stay down, and he's very, very smart. I believe that can work against Cross. Like, there's a lot of things that I didn't know. I didn't think Cross has looked unbeatable, and this time they literally brought him down to the divisions level in this one match, and I thought it was a beautiful way to do it.
Yeah. And the question is now, you start thinking like Cross maybe got away with it because people's off the ball against a fully motivated, you know, Gargano, Cole, or even a Dunne in a one-on-one matchup. You're going, well, you know, especially now. I mean, personally, like, Dunne and Cross is a match that we have to see before either man gets called up or moved on or anything like that. Like I said, it's incredible stuff. I would say we're going to score this out of 5. I just want to go back to the women's match because I know you gave that a 3.5 for the women. I gave that a 4.25 for anybody listening in and for my own records as well. For the main event, out of 5, I don't think it's any surprise. But what are we going to score? What are you going to score it?
I gave it a 4.25. Actually, I did not think honestly that it did the same thing for me that the ladder match had, but I loved every second of it. I actually probably raised that to 4.5. The only thing that Crowley could take away from it is that I figured there was no way Cross was not leaving there at the championship, and that kind of takes away from it. But the predictability did not matter once you watched it.
Look, I'm not going to have a go at any other wrestling promotion because everybody can watch, and I do watch probably every other fucking wrestling promotion anyway. But it is nice. I don't know. I'm going to get the overall ranking in a minute, but it's nice to have a main event match that it delivered. Wherever it said, these are the 5 best in NXT. They're going to try and go for the title, and that's what we got. I loved it. I could watch matches like that all day long with the talent involved. That's a 5 out of 5 for me. That is up there. I thought it was fantastic. Prediction wise, we both went for Cross, so it ends 4-all. Final scores. It's a draw for good. The thing is, we were both playing it safe. I think if one of us would have took that chance on night, we could be standing here. Maybe the next time we do a takeover, one of us will or bottle it and it'll be a draw again. It'll be interesting to see. What happens there. Prediction wise, poll wise even, Cross got 67% of the vote. Adam Cole got 14%. Kyle O'Reilly 10%. Dunn 9%. Johnny Gargano got nothing.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Yeah. And then backstage, Mackenzie Mitchell asked William Regal for his thoughts on the show. Regal said it's been 7 years since he became the general manager of NXT. The objective Regal said he thinks it's time for a change.
Time flies, man.
Oh, 7 fucking years. Right, before we get on to that, let's just have a look at the pay-per-view quickly. Of course, we do MVP. So who was your... Well, first of all, I'll give my man of the man or woman of takeover. Can be either. Now, I'm going to say Cameron Grimes is my MVP of the show because, yes, he may have lost, but he took bigger bumps in that ladder match than LA Knight did. So I've got to give it to him. But then again, you could give it to everybody on the show because everybody, it delivered again, you know? I
agree. I thought it was overall a really good show. Cameron Grimes definitely was my MVP of the night. He, again... Like I said, it was nice to see that sometimes when you're doing this job, especially without fans, it's hard to gauge what is the public opinion on a character or on a person. When it comes to wrestling. So it was so good to hear everyone's reaction and just show that these vignettes, everything that he's been doing since coming back, has been working not just on me but on everyone else. And he backed it up with his performance in the ring. And like you said, even in a loss, he deserves MVP for that, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think without a doubt. Match of the night, I've gone for the main event of the show, and your pick was the ladder match. I don't think we can argue about either. So now it's overall rating out of 10. Now, I'll give mine first because then, I've not influenced people with scores, and I gave a lot of 8 3/4 recently because, the shows have been good, but maybe not all that. I'm going to give this show a 9 1/4 out of 10. Now, the reason is it was 2 hours and 20 minutes long. You forget about the kickoff, you can listen to the podcast. 2:20, 5 matches, all given time. I love takeovers anyway. There's no doubt about it. You've got the perfect length between there. You don't get bored of anything. If you're a smoker, if you want a break, you can have a break after 2 matches and then come back to it as well, or whatever it is. It's perfect the way it is. Every match delivered for me, and that main event, like I said, I could watch all day long. The only problem was Grimes losing, and it's going to set me up for the journey for him winning now. So 9 1/4 out of 10. I know nothing really happened, but it was just a great show overall.
Yeah, I thought it was really, really fun. Overall, I think I gave it like 8.5. Yeah, 8.5 is what I wrote down out of 10. I thought it still accomplished everything needed to be. Like I said, even if some of my match star ratings was harsh, it wasn't based on anything that anyone did. I thought like I said, every match delivered, every story that they were intended to tell, I understood. I thought it worked well. but I just didn't think it was as good as maybe some of their other cards. But again, we talked about this with NXT. They have like such a great reputation of just like strong shows. Like you said, it's been paced pretty well in the past. This is one of their better paced shows. I recommend that everyone take time out to check it out because it was really really good. So I don't want to make it sound like I'm saying anything less than what you're saying, but at the same time, there was some moments here and there that I could have done without, But I think only by comparison to its peers does this show kind of fall off for me. But when, as far as like a great wrestling show to watch and just special altogether, definitely go watch it, and it deserves all the praise you're giving it, James. I would not disagree there. But the only way I will take away off of it is like I don't think it really is as good as some other shows that they've put on.
Oh no, yeah, I completely agree with you. But I think for me, it's just a nice fresh air, especially with Takeover. And again, maybe I am a little bit biased, but fuck it. So anyway, we move on to the poll. We asked everybody what they thought of the pay-per-view event. OK got 16.7%. Good got 26.7%, the same as Awesome, which got 26.7%. But everybody overall, 30%, said this show was great, and there's no doubt about it. But finally, before we leave, reports, of course, about William Regal maybe after 7 years wanting to walk away. There's time for a change. It seems to be the cue for someone's return, because there's been loads of rumours that Samoa Joe is returning to NXT. Apparently, Triple H just snatched him back when higher-ups gave their blessing for Joe to return to the company. He has signed him. Now, Joe might not be medically cleared, but to come back, I mean, first off, Samoa Joe coming back to NXT is going to be fantastic. But would you want to see Regal replaced, or like just a beef up, a backup for him?
I was just thinking that part of me, originally when I seen this and I saw the rumors also not too long, the next day after Takeover, pretty much. At first I was like, I was definitely happy because, like I said, Samoa Joe, anyways, for me, like I'm old school, like TNA, NWA, like way back in the day, Samoa Joe fan. That's my guy. As a matter of fact, as a chubby kid growing up, it was nobody I wanted to be more than Samoa Joe. Come on, man, I love Samoa Joe. But anyway, besides me being a stand for Samoa Joe in many ways, I think I don't know how I would have felt if he just take over for Regal as GM, because I don't necessarily know if I want him in that role. But as a muscle for William Regal, or someone who's going to be like not necessarily a backstage enforcer, even though that's kind of a funny name in general, but like someone who could keep things in line when he makes his announcement, make sure that the respect, like Cross just straight up disrespected Regal, like his authority meant nothing, and I don't think he'll do that if he got somebody like Samoa Joe on the side of him. So I think that'll be a nice way. But then again, if Joe is in that position, I don't think they'll be disrespecting him like that. But you would think Regal would have that same respect. I mean, Regal was dangerous, but maybe it's the age difference. I don't know, but I think Joe, either way it goes, will be an asset.
Well, without doubt, and talk about Joe in NXT is an asset. But just on that quick point, we saw it in NXT update where Karen Cross says, "I don't answer to you," to William Regal, like shut up. Imagine doing that to fucking Joe and having that face off. Like, I mean, come on. Like, let's give my money. Here's my money. Like,
exactly.
I mean, man, like, and I know people are going to say, well, Joe coming back. So fucking what? Joe's a legend in NXT. Like you said, talk about great NXT champions. We started at the start of the show. Joe is definitely up there. And it is just great news all around. So that's nearly it. So obviously we're going to do our next update in July. What are your hopes and aspirations in the next month? The next time we meet up, what do you hope or what do you want to happen on NXT and what we're talking about basically?
For like you said, with that, if Samoa Joe is the person, I would like maybe like either a muscle role, or if he takes over as general manager, I would definitely love someone to try some of that stuff that they would do with Samoa Joe, and Samoa Joe to just show this is not how this is going to work. I would love to see how that is expressed and how that would go over. But we'll see. And then as far as the scene goes, and as far as just like whatever everyone is doing, I would love for them to build up to either an Adam Cole or either a Pete Dunne matchup for Cross for Bash. I would like them to move for that, move forward towards that, or at least I can see Gargano having a lot to say and saying he wasn't pinned, so I can see maybe Cole, Gargano, Dunn triple threat or something for a shot at the American Bash, maybe something like that. With the timing being so close, this is July, the beginning of July is will be here before you know it. I think we may get a Blackheart and Gonzalez match, maybe, or possibly, or maybe an Ember Moon rematch based on that, and maybe they'll put them in a cage to keep Dakota Kai and Shotzi away, something like that. But yeah, for the most part, that's what I can think of. An actual proper one-on-one match between Escobar and Reed will also be something to look forward to, or at least whatever they're doing with involvement with each other. And maybe we'll get some Dangerous Bastards. Not only will GYV and Dangerous Bastards be fighting on the newest episode of NXT, I believe it'd be nice to see what we get as far as the tag team division goes. And also for the ladies tag division. It'd be nice for those girls to get some contenders from somewhere. I'm not sure who. That's probably the problem. But something like that going forward would be great too. But yeah, I know that's a lot, but I think that's pretty much the only thing I can think of right now.
You don't ask for much, do you? Yeah, no.
I asked for a lot, huh?
That's the thing. But we got Shida in action as well. But one of these things, it's like, one of these things about fucking Io show, I'm going to come back to it. But this is the best thing about NXT that I can say personally, is I'm not micromanaging it. With AEW, with AEW and WWE, I can see people, and sometimes I might do this. I go, I want him to be here. I want him to do this. With NXT, it feels like we just sit down, we put on our fucking seatbelts, we look at each other, and go, right, let's go on this ride, and we'll see where the month takes us.
I agree 100% because as good as everything I just said sound, a lot of times if I just trust what Triple H has going, we get paid. We get a great payoff at the end of the day, usually. So they have a great track record, like I said, at NXT for giving us what we want, even if we realize even if we don't realize that's what we want at the time.
It's the old Batman thing, isn't it? Yeah, giving you the hero you need instead of the hero you want.
Exactly. You can just go down the list of things that we talked about it last year. Like, for example, Indy Hartwell and Dexter romance. Were you thinking of that last year? Hell no. So they do it all. He does it all the time, and you end up invested in something that you didn't even see coming. So I can't wait to see what's next.
Well, as I was saying, the Triple H is, he's backstage in his Bane mask going, "Once NXT is burning, you have my permission to die." So anyway, that is it. Enough shenanigans. I'm not racist, but I'm not going to do that.
If you learn anything from this show, learn that phrase is a setup for failure. Okay?
Don't say that. Don't watch pre-shows as well. They're the two things. One thing you do though is make sure you follow us on social media. Twitter at the WNR Podcast. I'm at the WNRJR. Monty, where are you?
That's a good question. I was muted, so it actually felt like I went somewhere. I'm at Monty Pod on Twitter. Hit me up on there. I have a podcast called the Mind of Monty Twitter. You can check that out. I will be getting back on to that. We've been on vacation, so it may not be a time to actually check it out. So until then, hit me up on my Monty Twitter. At my Monty Pod on Twitter. Let me say it right. And I'll be there.
Yeah, I got to apologise. I do call you Monty all the time rather than your actual handle or anything else like that.
And Monty works.
Then again,
that works.
Yeah, you call me. There you go.
Come on, man. At some point, we're gonna do you want me to just at WNR? How do you feel about the show today? No.
Well, at Mind of Monty Pod, I would say. Well, I've got to say, I've got to finish this fucking outro first. Anyway, we're on Facebook and Instagram. Across all the Google platforms, send us an email and hate emails at the WNRpodcast@gmail.com. I'm still going through some from NXT Update and YouTube, WNR Podcast, with latest clips and podcasts. Got the same time on YouTube as do SoundCloud on your phone. Also, Spotify and iTunes, we can download, subscribe, rate, and review there. So that is it. Our next episode together, Monty, will be July 10th, NXT update. The next episode on the WNR will be a Raw review and SmackDown summary on the cusp of Hell in the Cell. But I will say, like, this is a takeover review. And like we did NXT update, it was meant to be 4 episodes of NXT. It's meant to be a takeover. But it's so much more than that. And it is so fun. And it flies by. And again, thank you very much for joining me on here. And, you know, like I said, NXT is a monthly highlight with the amount of wrestling we've got to watch as well, you know?
Oh, man, you don't understand. Like, I'm always looking forward to it. I'm seeing little things on the show, and I'm like, now that will make James laugh. So I'm getting to know you in the process. So it's all beautiful, man. I love it. I'm always looking forward to the next NXT update. So yeah, can't wait to hear from you guys next month.
Without a doubt, yeah. So thanks for listening, everybody. I have been James Bones. I was joined by the fantastic Monty. Thanks for listening, everybody, and bye.
Adios.